welcome back to the other side. We're Ian and Anna. Ian's behind the camera right now. You can usually find us traveling the US in our van, but more recently we've been based in Florida working on our USA road trip travel guide, which is out now, so definitely check it out. We've also taken this time to explore the beautiful Sunshine State. We didn't get to see every place here, but in this video we're pumped to share with you our top 10 things to do in Florida. Starting with number 10, Key West. Key West is the southernmost part of the entire United States. It's known for its lively nightlife, water sports, and history, but not beaches. Key West is not known for its beaches. I can't tell you how many people we met that thought there were going to be amazing beaches on their vacation and were very disappointed. So I just wanted to say that right away. To get to Key West, you have to drive on the Overseas Highway, which is one of the most beautiful drives in the country. This highway is compiled of 42 bridges which connect Key West to the mainland. As you're driving through the Keys, feel free to stop as you go. We stopped at a few spots, including Big Pine Key, where you can see deer roam the island. It's really cute. We also ate at a famous restaurant called No Name Pub, which was really good. And then we stopped at Isla Mirada and Bayonda State Park, and we highly recommend visiting those spots. This 8 square mile island has endless things to do for everyone. The best way to get on the water is to rent a boat or do some type of tour. Whether you choose a snorkeling tour, a drinking boat, or parasailing, it doesn't matter as long as you get to ride on that beautiful water. I mentioned earlier that there aren't many beaches in Key West. We were able to track down maybe the best beach located at Fort Zachary Taylor State Park. This was one of my favorite spots on the entire island. The fort itself is such a sight to see. Fort Zach is where history is made fun. After immersing yourself in a bit of history, you can head to the beach. We tried to go swimming here, but it was too windy, so the water clarity was bad. However, we've heard it's usually a really great spot to snorkel. You can see turtles and other animals, which is always really fun. A few other interesting historical spots are the Little White House and Ernest Hemingway's house. President Truman visited and ran the country from Key West for a total of 175 days. He just loved it there. We did a tour through the house and really enjoyed it, so if you're into history, we recommend visiting. And as for Hemingway's house, it was just stunning. I didn't do a tour, I just walked through and listened to other tours, but I really loved it. Hemingway was the first person in Key West to have a pool on the island, and there's a great story that goes with that, but I guess you'll just have to wait and hear it for yourself. Another famous thing to do here is the Duval Street pub crawl. Duval Street is a mile stretch of bars. We got a tandem bike, which was hilarious, and rode around, stopping a few times for a drink. If you're looking to party, this is definitely the spot to be. Lastly, I just wanted to mention that we stayed at Ocean Key Resort while we were in town, and it was the perfect spot overlooking the water. If you don't plan on staying there, you at least have to try their restaurant Hot Tin Roof. Seriously, it was some of the best food I've ever had, and the entire establishment just had great hospitality, which is so important. Also, I forgot to mention that the island is full of chickens and roosters that roam freely, so don't be surprised if you're woken up by roosters in the morning. Next, we have number 9, Devil's Den.
30 minutes away from Gainesville, Florida lies one of North America's most prehistoric places, Devil's Den. It was formed when a phenomenon called a karst happened. This is when the earth caves in over an underground water reservoir, creating what is now a cavern. Early settlers used to call this place the chimney from hell because during winter months, through what used to be a tinier hole in the earth, smoke would rise up. And that is exactly why this place was named the Devil's Den. Walking down through this 33 million year old cavern will leave you speechless, especially when you lay your eyes on some of the clearest blue water in the US. Devil's Den is a great place to go snorkeling, free diving, and even scuba diving year round. The entrance fee here is $15 per person on weekdays and $22 on weekends, and we made sure to bring our own snorkel set so we could save some cash. They are open 7 days a week, and we highly suggest going as early in the morning as possible. We made the big mistake of going on a Saturday at noon, and this place was way too packed. Anna and I spent hours here free diving to the bottom, swimming right next to turtles and fish. You won't see a ton when you're down there, especially because it's a bit dark and creepy, but it was still an unforgettable experience. The massive gaping hole letting the sun in is just mesmerizing and made the blue water look even more magical. Next up is number 8, Ichetucknee Springs.
Ichetucknee Springs State Park is a gorgeous area area located in a little town called Fort White. There are many popular things to do here, including paddling or tubing down the river, birding, hiking, snorkeling, and even scuba diving. The experiences are endless, and it only costs $6 per vehicle to get in. We went straight to the north entrance to swim in the two main springs, Head Spring and Blue Hole Spring. Head Spring is a quick walk from the parking lot. The greenery that surrounds it makes for a breathtaking view, but not one that beats the view from underwater. The water here is clear blue and turquoise, and it makes for the perfect swim. Be careful though, an alligator can be found in any body of water in Florida, so definitely keep an eye out, but overall you should be just fine. Next, we took the nature walk to Blue Hole Spring. Because it's a half-mile trek from the parking lot, Blue Hole Spring is much less crowded than Head Spring. The trail was full of Florida's most charming foliage. I love a peaceful walk, so even if you don't plan on swimming in Blue Hole, we still recommend hiking to it. Once you arrive to this spring and take the plunge, the clear cyan waters and the many fish will blow you away. There's a deep blue hole that starts 40 feet below the surface. We tried to swim down there, but it was really challenging with the current from the springs. Either way, it was still fun trying to go down. Traveling the pristine waters of Ichetucknee makes for the perfect excursion, whether you're looking for an active adventure or a chill day. Next up is number 7, Ginnie Springs.
The late diving pioneer Jacques Cousteau once said Ginnie Springs is visibility forever, and this statement couldn't be more on point. Traveling between the group of 7 springs on the Santa Fe River is an amazing way to spend a full day in the sun. This place is privately owned and the entrance fee is $20 per person. The price is a bit steep, and that's why we suggest bringing your own tubes, paddleboards, or kayaks to save a bit of money. Of course, be on the lookout for gators when you're paddling through the Santa Fe River, but once you get to each spring, ease your mind because all you'll find in there are a bunch of turtles, large fish, and other wildlife. One of my favorite spots is called Devil's Eye, which is a 20-foot deep round hole. We had so much fun swimming to the bottom and seeing all the fish surround the hole. Just like every natural spring in Florida, the water here stays a consistent 72 degrees Fahrenheit. All I have to say about this place is that you need to see it to believe it, because wow, is that water clear. Up next is number 6, Crystal River and Three Sisters Springs.
Crystal River is in Citrus County, which is the manatee capital of the world. First off, I just gotta say it, manatees are seriously one of the cutest animals on the planet. These gentle giants are so cool to observe, so if you get the opportunity to see one in person, embrace it. The best way to swim with manatees is by visiting Three Sisters Springs in the winter. Why the winter, you ask? Because the Gulf and Bay water become too cold for the manatees, so during the cooler months, they migrate to the Florida Springs since they have a consistent temperature of 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Three Sisters Springs is actually a wildlife refuge, and if you enter that area, there's no access to the water. There are 2 ways to swim with manatees. The first is to go with a tour. Going with a tour is pretty cool because you learn a lot about these animals. Like, did you know that manatees aren't fat? They just appear that way and are actually one of the most fit animals. That's just an example of one thing you learn about through a tour. However, we recommend going the free route and paddling to Three Sisters Springs from Hunter Springs Park. It's about a 30-minute rigorous paddle to Three Sisters, but it was so worth it. I mean, I think it was worth it. Looking back, it was actually pretty hard, so it's totally a judgment call for you. If you think you can handle the rough waters, then definitely do it. Once you arrive to Three Sisters, you can tie up your board and head in. Because the manatees are threatened, please give them their space. Don't approach or startle them. Try not to make any splashes and don't dive deep to their level. Tread above the surface. There are so many people at the springs, and the last thing you want to do is overwhelm the manatees even more. Other than that, have yourself a blast. Seeing these chubby mermaids in person is one of my favorite memories. Like I said, they're just so cute. Coming up, number 5, Jupiter.
To escape the crowds and traffic in South Florida, make your way an hour and a half north of Miami to one of the most lavish coastal towns in the US. Just driving through here on a boat or car to look at the properties is a sight to see. Hey, you may even bump into celebrities like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, and Celine Dion, who call this slice of paradise home. Let's not forget about the water here. Jupiter is surrounded by deep blue magical water that transports you right to the Caribbean. The best part about Jupiter though is the amount of adventures you can go on. You can head to the Lighthouse Natural Area and walk around a 120-acre nature preserve that is full of lush tropical forest. This is one of our favorite places we stumbled upon during our travels in Florida. I'll make sure to link the parking area down in the description below so you can head there too. The coolest part about this walk is the Jupiter Lighthouse standing tall above the pathways. You can climb to the top of the lighthouse and get a 360-degree view of Jupiter for a $12 entrance fee. Instead, we decided to bring our inflatable paddleboards through this path to the bank of the Indian River Lagoon. On this sandy bank, you will see boats flying by, pelicans gliding inches from the water, and an unbelievable view of those crazy properties I was talking about. Let's not forget about the long stretches of beach here in Jupiter. One of my favorites was Blowing Rocks Preserve because of its unique limestone rock formations lining up the shore. This beach is as wild and natural as one can get as you walk through tunnels of trees to get there. We arrived here 20 minutes before it was closing and there was not a soul in sight. If you're lucky and it's a bit windy, the tide could hit the limestone rocks and cause a massive spray of water upwards of 50 feet. After Blowing Rocks Preserve, head to Juno Beach for the perfect sunset. Here you have a spectacular pier and along the beach are tons of shells to check out. Another rite of passage in Jupiter is to head to the many tiki bars lining up the Loxahatchee River. Some amazing spots to grab drinks are U-Tiki, Square Grouper, and Guanabanas. All that sounds amazing, but when you add this next thrilling adventure to the list, Jupiter may be an unbeatable spot in Florida. This next adventure is shark diving right off the coast. This isn't just cave diving, nope. On this unforgettable experience, you get to jump in the water and swim freely with these beautiful animals. These tours were created to show people up close and personal that sharks aren't these evil animals you see in movies like Jaws, but rather show you that they are an essential part of the food chain and that sharks are way more valuable alive than dead. If you want to learn more about sharks and other animals in the sea, make sure to check out the documentary on Netflix called Seaspiracy. If you want to free dive with sharks, be sure to do your research and pick a tour company that has shark conservation in mind. Most of these tours are $200 per person and you'll be able to see tiger sharks, great hammerheads, bull sharks, lemon sharks, and many more depending on the day. This is one of those moments that will live in your mind for the rest of your life. I really can't get over just how fun it was, and it makes you appreciate sharks so much more. I'm gonna cut in here and let you guys know that this video is sponsored by Allure. We use their paddleboards all throughout Florida. As you can see in this video, we were jumping in with Manatees, and the best part about them is that they're inflatable. We can fit them in our tiny van. We have 2 of them, and it only takes about 5 to 10 minutes to inflate. And we even have a little gift for you guys. If you use the code OTHERSIDE times Allure5, you get 5% off your purchase of any paddleboard on their website. But now, let's head back into the video. Let's hit up number 4, King's Landing.
Another spring to add to the list, King's Landing was magical. The ride to the actual spring was a bit challenging due to the fact that it was upstream, but that's okay. Ian and our friend Kyle paddled while Allie and I chilled on the back. Don't worry though. We did our part paddling on the way back, although that was downstream, so there wasn't much to it. The excursion there makes you feel like you're smack dab in the jungle. There's so much foliage and many animals along the way. We saw so many turtles and birds. This place may be the most exotic we've found in all of Florida. The spring itself is really beautiful, but I almost feel like the journey there was the best part. Another reason why this spot is so high on our list is because it was the first time we got a campsite in Florida. We stayed at Kelly Park Campground with our friends Kyle and Allie. Camping in Florida is a total vibe because you're surrounded by so many palm trees and lots of greenery. We just had the best time cooking out and watching movies on their van. Although we stayed at Kelly Park Campground, right next door was Camp Joy, and that's where you can put in your paddleboards to get to King's Landing. The best part is if you pay for camping in Kelly Park, you get free access to Camp Joy. I think this setup in this area is so convenient and fun. If you live in Florida, it's the perfect weekend trip with some friends, and if you're here visiting, it's only 30 minutes outside of Orlando, so if you're in that area, totally check it out. Next is number 3, Sanibel.
I'm gonna have to put it out there, I think this is the best family vacation spot in Florida. Sanibel really makes you feel like you escaped the crowds and entered an untouched paradise. This tiny island isn't very commercialized with no traffic lights or high rises, and that's one of the reasons why we loved it so much. A must-visit spot here is called Bowman's Beach, which has been voted top 25 beaches in the US. Offering miles of secluded white sand shores, this spot is perfect for anyone looking for a quiet day in the sun. The parking here is a bit steep at $5 an hour, but I think it's totally worth it for a couple hours. The land surrounding this beach is wild and offers trails through Florida hammock and boardwalks right over the water. If you're into seeing tons of birds, right down the street from Bowman's Beach is Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge. Ding Darling is part of the largest undeveloped mangrove ecosystem in the US and has more than 270 types of birds, 35 species of mammals, and 60 different reptiles to enjoy. When we went, it was quite hot and we didn't get to see a ton of birds, but we saw some alligators and herons, which was awesome. You can walk or bike the refuge for only $1, but we opted to take our car on the 4-mile drive and stop over at all the different inlets to take in the spectacular views. If you want to take your car, it's a $10 admission fee per vehicle, and the best times to visit here for wildlife spotting is January through March, but it's still awesome year-round, especially during low tide. Another fun thing to do in Sanibel and the connecting island of Captiva is to visit all the fun restaurants that have been around forever. One classic restaurant that is great for kids is called the Bubble Room. This quirky restaurant has been on Captiva since 1979, and what makes it world famous are the decorated, multi-themed rooms. The Bubble Room is kind of like if you took a little bit of Hollywood, a toy store, and Christmas and mixed it all together. The slogan here is "You will never leave hungry" because the portion sizes are very generous. Another great place to grab a drink and take in the sunset right on the beach is called the Mucky Duck Restaurant. This Captiva staple has been serving cold beers and delicious food since 1975. One last spot that I think no one ever talks about in this area is called the Sanibel Causeway. Here you can roll up your car or van to the water's edge and enjoy an entire day in the sun for free. We stayed here for an entire day making breakfast in the morning and inflating our paddleboards to see the manatees swimming right off the shore. We'll make sure to link this spot down in the description below, and we seriously recommend it to anyone heading to the Sanibel area. Another great perk about the spot is the magical sunsets you can take in every single night. Having our bed in the back of the WOOT WOOT mobile made this moment even more special as we saw the sun creep slowly below the horizon. Next up is number 2, Clearwater and Indian Rocks.
Now, I grew up coming to a town called Largo, which is about 20 minutes from Clearwater, so I'm totally biased to this area. Clearwater Beach itself is one of the best beaches in the US. There's no doubt about it. It's been voted the #1 beach in the US multiple times over the years. It's home to the whitest and softest sand I've ever come across in my entire life. Clearwater Beach has so much to offer. Between delicious restaurants, nightlife, and family-friendly activities, this spot is a vacationer's paradise. One of my favorite places to eat is Clear Sky Cafe. They have spectacular seafood and also many vegetarian options, which is very cool. It's on the list for top 100 brunch spots in the country, so if you're a brunch lover, you know where to go. Now, we don't have footage of this, but right across from Pier 60 is this area where you can rent jet skis or go on tours. I'm pretty sure over the years I've done it all, but the two activities that stand out most to me were going on that pirate ship with my cousins and renting jet skis. Riding jet skis is so cool because sometimes dolphins will come up to you. We also saw tons of amazing big houses, just really beautiful properties. Those were just some fun suggestions I wanted to throw out there, especially for the kids. To be completely honest though, Clearwater Beach can be very crowded. As much as I love it, I almost want to say number 2 should be Pinellas County because Clearwater Beach is amazing, but the surrounding cities are just as awesome. We love Indian Rocks Beach. This is the beach that's closest to us, so of course it's our go-to. In my personal opinion, this is one of the best spots to catch the sunset. I don't know why, but there's just something about it. It sets directly in front of you and the orange and pink skies are just mind-blowing. There's also a little shack on the shore that we love called Kooky Coconuts. It serves great food and ice cream. There's tons of great restaurants in this area like Krabby Bill's and Guppy's. You really just can't go wrong. Some other great towns are Dunedin, St. Pete's, Madeira Beach, and so on. The best part is that all these spots that I've mentioned are within 20 minutes of each other, so there's really no harm in exploring Clearwater Beach and beyond. And finally, we have number 1, Silver Glen and Camping Juniper.
Silver Glen made it to number 1, but you must camp 10 minutes away at Juniper Springs to experience the best this area has to offer. First of all, camping anywhere in Ocala National Forest is a must-do, especially because some of the best natural springs in the country are located right here. Camping at Juniper was the best time ever as you are surrounded by untouched tropical forest. If you have never car or tent camped before, this is by far the most fun you could have with your friends. Building fires, setting up an outdoor theater, and our personal favorite, walking with our coffees in the morning to the mystical Fern Hammock Springs. This curved bridge spanning across a crystal clear spring is the most Instagrammable spot you could find. The water here is like something you've never seen before, and although you can't swim here, just taking in all the beauty was one of our favorite daily rituals. We were lucky to see massive turtles glide through this crystal clear water, but we have heard big alligators and snakes come around every once in a while too. 10 minutes down the road was our all-time favorite spring we have ever visited in Florida called called Silver Glen Springs. For only $6 per person, you could swim in water that rivals the Maldives. Many residents and visitors even claim that this is the clearest spring water in all of Florida, and we couldn't agree more. Don't forget to bring your mask, snorkel, and underwater camera because you will be swimming with massive schools of striped bass and maybe even spot a manatee hanging around. Manatees will head to these waters during cooler winter months, so we will have to head back ASAP because that sounds amazing. Something that makes this spring even more unique are the gigantic vultures flying and running around. If you bring food here, these sneaky animals will be the first to your picnic, so watch out.
Alright guys, that's our wrap for our top 10 things to do in Florida. We really hope you had so much fun watching this video. If you did get value out of it, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and don't forget to like it. Some exciting news is our next video will be kicking off our Europe trip. We'll be in Europe for 3 months and bringing you along the entire time, so get pumped. I'm not doing Ian's outro.
Woot woot, yip yip, ribba ribba.